Hello friends, this is Roxanne, and today, I'm going to recap the 2023 action war anime called Vinland Saga Season 2 Episode 2. But before that, it's my humble request to every person who is watching this video, please like this now. It will take only a second for you guys to like this video, but for me, it will help this video reach out to more people, and make me get more views on my channel. So if you guys love my anime recap videos, then like this video now. The episode starts with Kettle introduces Einar to Thorfinn and explains that starting today, they will be working together as friends. He states that he'll be assigning the both of them at the same job and want them to work together with each other, to which they both say hello to each other. He proceeds to explain the nature of their job and points to a nearby forest, asking Einar what it looks like to him. Einar guesses that it is a forest, but Kettle corrects him, stating that it will be a future wheat farm. Kettle further explains that he owns this forest and is willing to lend it to Einar and Thorfinn for their use. Their task is to clear the land, work it, and reap the harvest. Once they have done so, he will purchase the land from them at a fair price. If the price they receive exceeds the cost of their own slavery, they will be able to purchase their freedom. Einar is shocked at this revelation and asks Kettle what does he mean, to which Kettle tells them to earn their freedom the right way, also revealing that if they work hard, they will be able to accomplish this task within 3 years. Einar, still shocked at this revelation but gladly accepts the offer. Kettle also introduces them to another farm worker named Peter and advises them to turn to Peter if they have any problems or questions. Peter explains that he himself had become a free man through this same process and wishes them the best of luck. Before leaving, Kettle tells Einar that he can rest for the day and observe how Thorfinn works, as he must be exhausted from the long journey. He also tells Thorfinn to be good to Einar and take care of him, to which he agrees. Thorfinn ventured back into the dense forest, with Einar trailing behind him. Einar couldn't help but ponder over the nature of Kettle, and if his words were typical for Denmark. In his homeland, slavery was a lifelong commitment. Einar opened up about his origins, revealing that he was from northern England. His curiosity piqued. Einar couldn't help but wonder about Thorfinn's past. Thorfinn remained silent for a moment, before disclosing that he was from Iceland. Einar, unfamiliar with the location, looked around in wonder. As they walked, Einar couldn't help but be impressed by the number of trees Thorfinn had already cut down. He wondered how many more were left. Thorfinn pointed towards a nearby river, explaining that all the trees on the other side of the river still needed to be cleared. Einar looked across the river and realized that there were still a considerable number of trees left to be felled. Thorfinn resumed his task of cutting down trees, and Einar decided to join in. However, on his first strike, Einar's axe became lodged in the trunk of a tree. Thorfinn reminded him that he had been advised to take some rest, but Einar insisted that he wanted to earn his freedom faster. Thorfinn suggested that Einar start cutting trees further away from him and at an angle, so that they would fall perpendicular to the river. This way, they could float the logs downstream. As they worked, Einar's stomach began to rumble, and he wondered when they would have lunch. Thorfinn explained that farmhands would bring them food when it was time. Einar heard some voices in the distance and assumed that lunch had arrived. Einar was introduced to the men who brought him lunch, but he was taken aback by the small amount of food in the bag. The men assumed that it was his first time being a slave and stated that he should be grateful to be fed at all. They were free men who were bringing him lunch, so he needed to show them some gratitude. Einar became angry, but Thorfinn stepped in, took the food and thanked the men. One of the men told Thorfinn to teach Einar some manners, and to not harm the horse. The 4 men then decided to rest under a tree. Thorfinn tied the horse to a tree and explained to Einar that he and the horse would be pulling the trees towards the river, while Einar pushed them from behind. Einar asked if they could cut down more trees, but Thorfinn explained that the trees belonged to their master and they couldn't cut them without his permission. Einar assumed that this was the job of the 4 men, but Thorfinn told him to forget about it. The 2, along with the horse, then began to pull the trees towards the river. As evening approached, Einar was both hungry and tired, and his anger towards the farmhands had not dissipated. He surmised that the farmhands did not have their own land and were required to serve the master. Thorfinn confirmed this. Einar then stated that the farmhands were half-slaves and were using their position to bully those below them, to make themselves feel superior. Einar wondered if Thorfinn agreed with his assessment, but Thorfinn simply did not care. Einar stated that they were owned by the master and the farmhands had no right to order them around. He wanted to report them to Ketil, but Thorfinn warned him not to, otherwise they would be harassed even more. Einar was furious that Thorfinn was willing to put up with this treatment. Ketil arrived and asked how their first day had gone. Einar began to state that he had a report, but then saw a woman and was distracted by her beauty. He stopped talking. As Einar remained silent, Ketil assumed there was nothing to report and continued on his way. The next day, Ketil and his farmhands were harvesting wheat. The children brought them some fresh water, and after drinking, Ketil informed them that they needed to finish this batch by noon. Einar was surprised to see Ketil working, as he had assumed that wealthy people never worked. Einar then noticed a young man struggling to harvest the wheat properly and was evidently annoyed at having to be on the field in the first place. The young man was Olmar, Ketil's son. Ketil attempted to assist Olmar. However, Olmar stated that he was already doing what he was told to do. Ketil instructed him to use a hand sickle and cut below the knee, but Olmar argued that it didn't matter how it was cut, as long as it was done. However, Ketil explained that after the harvesting came the grazing and they needed to leave long stumps so the livestock could eat them. Olmar became more annoyed as Ketil kept explaining how to harvest. Einar wondered who the young man was, and Thorfinn told him it was Ketil's son. Olmar became angry and stated he had enough. He had only agreed to help out once, but Ketil wouldn't stop complaining. Ketil told him that he needed to listen and learn, as he would inherit the farm, but Olmar had no interest in doing boring farm work. Olmar attempted to pull out his sword from behind his back but found that the blade was too long to take it out of the sheath. He then decided to put it back and ran off on his horse, stating that one day he would make a name for himself with his sword. Later that night, Olmar was practicing his swordplay and stated that he would be going to England soon to join Prince Canute's army. As he was practicing, he saw a moth and attempted to cut it, but missed. Olmar was in bed with a woman who wondered when he would be leaving, but Olmar did not know, stating that King Harald should be calling for reinforcements soon. The woman suggested that it would be better if he took over the farm. Expressing her concern for his safety, she then invited him back to bed. Outside, the woman's father and mother were listening and hoped that Olmar would continue sleeping with their daughter so that their future would be secured. Moments later, Olmar came out of the room, angry. The couple wondered if their daughter had done something wrong. Olmar yelled at them, accusing them of only wanting to become part of Ketil's family and live in luxury. Furious, Olmar left, stating that all women were rotten. Frustrated, Olmar rode his horse through the night. As he was riding, he came across two drunken farmhands who warned him that it was dangerous to ride at night. Olmar wondered what they were doing there and the two men explained that they had gone to see a woman, but other retainers had gotten there first. They were unable to start a fight as they would get in trouble and they felt Olmar was lucky because he could do whatever he wanted. The two men noticed that Olmar was angry and suggested that he join them in continuing to drink and chat. In bed, Einar mumbled that Olmar should take over the farm. He doesn't know war, and probably thinks warriors are cool, but anyone who goes to war is a beast. Thorfinn told him to go to sleep as they would be waking up early. Einar explained that soldiers had come to his village twice. First, the King of England's soldiers came and burned every house. His father fought them but died. After that, the Danes came, claiming they were saving them from the tyranny of the King of England, but they pillaged everything they could. Einar thinks they are beasts in human skin. Einar asked Thorfinn if he was asleep, but Thorfinn didn't respond as he was recalling similar scenes from his own past. And this brings the anime to an end. Comment for part 3. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on another video. Until next time, take care. Einar thinks they are beasts in human skin. Einar asked Thorfinn if he was asleep, but Thorfinn didn't respond as he was recalling similar scenes from his own past. And this brings the anime to an end. Comment for part 3. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on another video. Until next time, take care.